Welcome back to the So You Want to Work in Healthcare podcast. I'm Leigha, I'm your host, and today we have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Ralph Gonzalez. He is the Executive Chief Medical Officer for OnCall Solutions, which we'll get into a little bit later. He's a hospitalist by trade, a physician leader. Welcome, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez.
Thanks for having me, Leigha. Nice to get to chat with you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for doing the show. Basically, I created this mostly to give students, people, their parents, maybe a better insight into what we do in the medical field, different professions, different specialties within those professions. So you're actually my first hospitalist or internist that I've interviewed. So I'm actually really excited about that. And also my first executive chief medical officer. So I'm really excited to have you on the show.
All right. A couple firsts. That's great. I love it.
Yeah. So let's start with basically your career, how you got to where you are now. I want to go back all the way to the beginning and find out why you originally chose healthcare in general.
Yeah. So, Leigha, I'll be honest. It was easy for me. It was, in my mind, truly a calling. I was one of those people that really never contemplated doing anything else in my life.
You really?
Yeah, my parents always joked that I was the kid with the Fisher Price doctor bag walking around the house.
Nice.
I had horrible handwriting my entire life, and I think we knew from day one that medicine was in my future, and it really was something that I went into from day one as a true passion, and still feel that way today, which is something that I love about the career is something that I think it's a career path that people are called to, and it's a blessing to be able to do this kind of work.
Cool. Was anyone in your family a doctor before you?
No, I'm actually a first generation physician.
Awesome.
My father was longstanding EMT or fire rescue provider in Miami, Florida for about 30 years. So he was my exposure to healthcare and medicine early on in my life.
Yeah.
Learned a lot from him. I think most importantly, treat every patient like they were your grandmother, and we'll have a long career with a lot of success.
That is a good rule. As long as you like your grandmother.
Yeah. True. Good point.
Yeah, but you had sort of a person in your life who was kind of a caretaker in a way, so that makes sense. Very cool that you're first generation physician. And where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Miami, Florida. Lived there my entire young life. Left Miami, the warm weather there, for very cold winters in South Bend, Indiana.
Oh, wow.
At Notre Dame, where I did my undergraduate. And happened to meet my wife there.
Nice.
And then, funny enough, I now have a sophomore there, my firstborn.
Oh, amazing.
There. So go Irish. Yes. We're a very
Nice.
strong Irish household. But it was a very stark difference in that experience. My wife is actually from the Philadelphia area, so that's what drew us back to the Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, I saw basically Pennsylvania, Philly all over your credentials resume. So I was waiting to see how you were going to get there, but that makes sense.
Yes.
Your wife is from Philadelphia or Pennsylvania?
Yes, she's from the Philly area. She came here for law school. I came for med school, and we stayed ever since.
Nice. Lawyer doctor couple.
Yes. Yeah, we get that.
Yeah, it's good. It's probably a good thing. You can bounce ideas off each other, learn from each other.
Yeah, very different careers, but a lot of similarities from just a professional perspective.
Right.
She's fantastic support and has always been
awesome.
A great supporter of my career, which is
cool.
Been fantastic.
Yeah. So then after Notre Dame, where did you end up going for med school? And did you go straight through from undergrad to med school?
I did. Yeah. I went straight through, and I went to Temple University for my medical school training. It was a great experience. Med school with a lot of tradition. They have a great standing in the Philadelphia area and
Mhm.
just really comprehensive experience. True inner city medicine practice
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
So I had a great breadth of clinical exposure, which led me very nicely to then my internship and residency nearby. We've always been in the Philadelphia area, but it just
Uh-huh.
happens to be very close to the Delaware border. So
Mm.
just down 95 to Christiana, where I did my residency training.
Okay. So the next question obviously will be why internal medicine? Like what called you to that?
I was always intrigued by the generalist approach to medicine.
Mm.
And as I was progressing through my training, I really wanted to go into a field that would keep options open.
Mhm.
I appreciated the holistic approach of internal medicine. And so, I felt like at that stage, I wasn't sure where my ideal practice environment would be. But, I knew that I wanted to, continue a general approach to medicine. So I was really conflicted between emergency medicine and internal medicine, ended up going in the IM direction because at that stage, I really wasn't sure if I wanted to subspecialize or not.
Right. Okay, cool. I like that you mentioned the holistic side of things. I feel like I don't know, maybe it's more common now, but just in general, I feel like MDs are not usually talking about that part of healthcare. So this is really I'm liking that.
Yeah, I mean, I could share more about that, and I think that it's really very core to the hospitalist experience. I feel like
Okay.
because then once I did my training in internal medicine at Christiana, really appreciated my inpatient experiences.
Mhm.
I think I'm particularly drawn to just the acuity of that side as opposed to
Right.
the outpatient experience. And
Mhm.
so I've done exclusively inpatient medicine during my career.
Wow.
And I really, you know, again, from a holistic perspective, feel like the hospitalist role is instrumental in just kind of guiding patients' care experiences. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, obviously, we leverage the support of a lot of consultants to support us when needed. But
Mhm.
I really feel and share with all of my patients that my role is to be your guide, is to be your quarterback, and really kind of ensure that you have a smooth experience from admission to discharge, that you have a clear understanding, what your care plan is, because medicine can be very confusing.
Mhm.
And a lot of times you can get mixed messages during a hospitalization. And so I really, appreciate the hospitalist role as the central advocate of the care experience.
I'm interested if you have any specific examples of things that, you've brought to your hospital or the hospitals you've worked with have done that are more, I guess, on the holistic side, because holistic can mean a lot of things, right? But I guess I just big picture, there's we wanna focus on, like, a holistic approach, but was there anything specifically that you think is really important that maybe a hospital you worked in or I don't know, something that you think is really changing the field of internal medicine from a holistic standpoint?
Yeah, and I can tell you that there is a significant focus right now on social determinants of health.
Mm,
I've had experiences in my healthcare career working in many different care settings, inner city, large system, small system, Catholic health, singular community hospital, you name it. I think I've practiced in all of them. And you,
wow.
you have really variable experiences with different patient populations. And patients have access to different kind of resources.
Mhm.
And I think that's a key part of the hospitalist arsenal is an understanding of your care environment,
Yeah.
because every hospital system has access to different resources. And, I think a lot of times is understanding where patients are and being able to provide the care to them that they need at that time. Because
Right.
it can vary. And I think that appreciation of, maybe the socioeconomic circumstance, the caregiver support,
Mhm.
all of those things can have very dramatic difference in outcome from patient to patient. And, I always had taught all of my students that, negative connotation to medical noncompliance.
Mhm.
But I really think
Yeah.
your role as a hospitalist is to continue to ask why, because at the root of it, I don't think anybody wants to feel bad. They want to feel
Right.
better, but oftentimes there's barriers outside of their control, and so it's the understanding of the patient as a whole,
Mhm.
and what their care goals are at that time that's really going to get the best outcome, and allow you to provide the best medicine.
Right. So crucial to medicine in general and every aspect of medicine, I think, is really understanding the patient. So yeah. Awesome. And then so you did a fellowship as well. Was that UC San Francisco?
Yeah, it was an additional training program, and it's again, I think a strong suit to the hospitalist path
Mm.
is it's one that I think really lends itself well to a future career in administrative medicine.
Okay.
Because as a hospitalist, a jack of all trades, a master of few, but one thing that you do really need to master is the hospital system. So, I think that you have a unique window into all of the inner workings of a hospital,
Mhm.
because you really participate in team-based care models. And again, one of my teaching points for a lot of the trainees that I have is to really leverage all your resources. No one knows everything, and so I mean, the best patient outcome comes from working with a really high functioning collaborative team. So, I
Right.
mean, leverage your nurses, your experts, leverage your social workers, your physical therapists, your occupational therapist, your speech therapist. I mean, I think the
Yeah.
hospitalist has a unique experience in that you really are a part of that team and guiding that team. So you really get to appreciate the hospital ecosystem and
Mm.
and how it functions. And so it's very common that you'll have a hospitalist participating in this committee or that committee, because they just have a good understanding of how that system works and where there's opportunities for improvement.
Right. Yeah. I am in orthopedic surgery, or I was until I left my job recently, but um it's so the opposite. And I'm constantly like, "Oh, should I be doing more to just, like, keep things." I try to do what I can to keep up the medicine portion of my job, but, it's great, and I think I really commend you for it because it's always seemed very overwhelming to me to be kind of like a generalist, but we need people like you who do this, so thank you.
It's very different. I feel, having many colleagues that are in some specialized spaces, I think oftentimes you can, fall prey to the monocular perspective
Mhm.
a care plan or a care recommendation, and really, I think the hospitalist function needs to be, to operate at 3,000 feet, look at the whole field in front of you, and really be able to provide that macroscopic assessment of risks and benefits, and be able to distill that information down in a digestible way for patients. So, again, I make that reference to our role as quarterback, but I again was moving in that direction of kind of just describing where I think there's a hospitalist role within the grander scheme of the hospital as a whole. In that,
Right.
I feel like the hospital is one of our patients too.
Yeah.
We need to be able to manage that as effectively as
Mhm.
possible. So very commonly, and that's what led to my interest in administrative medicine was just I think I've always been drawn to problem solving
Mhm.
and optimization of systems because I can tell you that every hospital I've been at does things differently, and there's
Mhm.
opportunities to improve in many different areas. That's one of the things that I've really enjoyed in my clinical experience, and particularly even on the locum side, is just getting that opportunity to experience medicine in different ways in different health systems, and
Yeah.
taking back the best of that to make my practice better, and to make other hospital systems better. So that it's been a joy of mine to be able to experience that. The medicine doesn't change. The
Mhm.
medicine's the same, but the resources vary very starkly from system to system, and just the processes and
Yeah.
workflows. So it's a neat experience.
So you feel that fellowship was really beneficial for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was really helpful in just kind of opening my eyes to administrative medicine a little bit,
Mhm.
and the opportunity to make an impact on patients and many
Yeah.
patients.
Mhm.
I think there's that divergence from the direct impact at the bedside versus the impact you can make more globally when supporting that hospital to make bigger change. So
Right.
I was really attracted to it at that point, and at that stage in my career, I had variable experiences in practice management or hospital management, committee work, had served as section chief and was just kind of having different experiences in that portion of medicine, which ultimately led to me having an opportunity as a chief medical officer in a community hospital in Wilmington, Delaware. It was part of Trinity Health, St. Francis Hospital.
Mhm.
And that was a great experience in that as a CMO of a smaller community hospital, you really have a breadth of experiences, and so many things that fall under your accountability and responsibility. And it
I
happened to
bet.
be at a time where, it was right smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. So
Oh, was
uh,
it?
it
Oh,
was
wow.
a really interesting operational experience.
Yeah. Wow. Well, are you still in that role as well as your role at OnCall Solutions or
No, I served as a
okay.
hospital CMO for about 4 years,
Okay.
and then had transitioned out, about going on 3 years ago,
Okay.
and, I think my experience there really served me well in my current experience, with On-Call as executive CMO, in that I had the opportunity of sitting on the other side of the table, struggling with
Mhm.
staffing solutions, or trying to sift
Right.
through many different, staffing partners, and at times kind of being frustrated with, existing, options.
Right.
Because oftentimes, when you're looking for a staffing solution, there can be some warm body business, where you're just filling the hole with anyone,
Yeah.
to just, hold down the fort. And it can be working towards short-term solutions where I think On-Call does a fantastic job of dissolving some of those more traditional, approaches to staffing and really creating more longitudinal, economically sustainable solutions, which I think presents the best option for hospital systems and clinicians.
Right. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking that way, like, you've been now on both sides of it, so you understand what it's like to need staffing for a hospital, and now you are part of doing the staffing, providing the staffing. So, I guess this is a really good segue into On-Call Solutions, which is a company that I've had the pleasure of been learning about and working with in certain capacity over the last few weeks, which has been really fun. And so OnCall Solutions is basically a medical staffing organization, right?
Well, we consider ourselves staffing solution. We hit on the term holistic earlier on as far
Mhm.
as a care focus, but I really feel that on call also supports that in the staffing space as well. You're really
Mhm.
working with hospital systems to develop custom staffing solutions. because
Mhm.
not every hospital needs the same thing. And so, we really dig in deep with hospital systems at the onset. And oftentimes they may come to us and say, hey, I need another nocturnist at night. And we may
Yeah.
say, hey, listen, we staff many other hospitals in your area. Have you ever considered an APC assisted staffing model? That might create a better coverage scheme for you. It may be a more economic solution. It may minimize turnover. So, it really is that partnership. So, we don't consider ourselves necessarily as staffing companies exclusively,
Mhm.
but we really like to be what we call a hospital practice partner,
Okay.
and have a longitudinal relationship with a hospital system where we can evolve their needs over time.
Mhm.
And we've done that successfully. Now celebrating our 20th birthday as a company.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yes, and we are very proud in the fact that the first hospital system that we ever partnered with, we still have a contract with today,
Oh,
still
cool.
operating with, um, and
Awesome.
we've had a great experience in the Mid-Atlantic and Philadelphia market, which is our home. But, around the time that I joined the company, really we're looking to expand to a national presence, and as well in different subspecialties. And so we've had some great success doing that. We do traditional locums as well.
Mhm.
But, we also provide a unique staffing solution in more pooled staff, which is, I talk with my team. It's really kind of filling the space between the space.
Okay.
That you have that locum space, which people are familiar with, and then you have the traditional staffing model. But clinicians these days are really looking for something that provides a little bit more flexibility and
Yeah.
fluidity. And so that's where the pooled staffing solution, I think, really creates some uniqueness and a good opportunity for hospital systems to fill that space.
Okay. So, I guess you sort of said it already, but if you could give like a short little synopsis of why and how OnCall Solutions is different from a traditional staffing company. Like, what is it that hospitals will come to you for, and what clinicians will also, be inclined to use your platform to find positions? What sets you apart?
Yeah. I can tell you, even in that same vein, what attracted me to the company.
Yeah,
And it
please.
really
Because
is that
you used On-Call Solutions to get positions or at yourself
I had
or
not in my previous role, but when
okay,
when I was exploring a change in career, really what drew me most to On Call was the fact that it is a truly clinical organization,
okay.
that is invested in the quality of the care provided and the experience of the clinicians that we work with. And, a lot of that falls on the model of the company.
Mhm,
I serve as executive CMO. I work with CMOs in multiple different subspecialties that sit at the center of the equation, are a bidirectional resource to all of our clinicians and our hospital systems. And that's
mhm.
kind of a really powerful checkpoint for quality, I would say. Every clinician that works with us is vetted by one of our CMOs. And so when we present a candidate, it really is a candidate that we expect, or we have high confidence in their ability to succeed. We've ensured that there's a match in their skill set and what the job
Mhm.
requires. And, at the very onset, when we engage with a clinician, it really is to develop a relationship with them. We want them to feel like they have a true clinician advocate within the company
Yeah.
from day one. And that's one of the things that I love, in that, I get to work with so many different clinicians, physicians, NPs, CRNAs, PAs across many different clinical backgrounds, and really kind of understand, what they need, what they're looking for. And every one of them has the cell phone number of either myself or one of our CMOs. And that's an immediate
Cool.
resource. And people use that. They will call us sometimes with clinical questions or personal, professional questions. And, I know Scott founded the company 20 years ago. And he's still a practicing cardiologist. I'm a hospitalist. All of our physician executives are still practicing clinicians that are in the trenches, seeing
Yeah.
patients, appreciating, what some of those challenges might be. But each of us, has a vested interest in providing a work experience for clinicians that is going to give them, long-term success. You know, I always tell early career clinicians that practice of medicine is something that, again, is a blessing to be able to do. It's a really unique experience being able to, um, connect with patients on an intimate level. I'm passionate about that, but I think we all realize that sometimes external factors of medicine can make it a grind, can make it difficult, and can burn people out. And so, the company was founded before burnout was a buzzword in the industry.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but it is real. And, it's a shame I've seen it where, some really great clinicians can just become burned out and, they're not able to provide the kind of care, the passionate, compassionate care that they provided earlier in their career because, they're not in control of their experience anymore.
Right.
And so on call was really intended to give that back to clinicians, uh,
Mhm.
give them some more autonomy in the way that they work, flexibility in their scheduling. And all of our physician executives are really truly invested in ensuring all of our clinicians have that experience. And, we host regular CMO office hours, and they have the opportunity to meet with us and kind of share their
Cool.
experiences. And gratefully, because we have that relationship with our hospital systems, we're able to provide that feedback directly to them. And as well, meet with the hospital systems on a regular basis and be able to ensure that, they're getting the quality that they expected to.
Right. Well, I think the one thing that I took away from my first meetings with Mike Scovira, who is his title is
He's our president.
officially
Yeah.
the company
He's our
president,
president.
right?
Yep.
Which is so cool because he's a PA and we went to with the same program and everything. So I love to see my fellow PAs like in these leadership roles. Anyway, I think what you said and what he told me is the fact that this company, OnCall Solutions, was founded by a physician, and basically, you have clinicians running the company, it seems, and I really think that really shows how much the company as a whole cares about the clinician. So, personally, that's why I was excited to kind of sign on to be an ambassador because I feel if I were to go through with a locums role or use, a recruiter, let's say, I would want that person at least and that company to know where I'm coming from. So I just think that's what I agree that like that to me makes you stand out more than anything because you know what the clinician needs and wants and it's not just kind of like I don't know, some tech person trying to
Yeah.
staff hospitals, and I think it's really important.
And that was a point of frustration for me, again, when I was sitting on the other side of the table. Because a lot of times your experience would end with, somebody in a business background or an
Mhm,
operational background, but not often or never really in my experience anybody that was a clinician, and
mhm,
that can truly speak to the nuances of the jobs. And I think that's a huge differentiator. And we maintain that relationship with the hospital moving forward once we engage with them as well. And that's where, again, there's that quality checkpoint. Hospital systems that we work with from day one, we'll say, hey, give us your top 3 pressure points. What is it that you're struggling with? Is it your length of stay? Is it your documentation? Is it your readmission rate? Is you're left without being seen?
Mhm.
What are those pressure points for you so that we can co-manage to those goals? Um, our clinicians, we expect they're going to be even better than your employed clinicians. So,
Mhm.
when you provide us your quality reports, we want to see that our providers are able to succeed there, and we're going to support them so that they can do that. But that's another very unique element to on call because having worked with other staffing companies, it was so much more transactional. Um,
Right.
and episodic. There really wasn't an investment in a long-term relationship.
Mm.
And that's where, again, I know as a company, we're very proud. I just got, as our CEO and founder is so proud in that all of the, major contracts that we've had, the overwhelming majority of them, we still have, because
That's
we've been
great.
able to deliver on that. And we've
Yeah.
been able to then expand within those hospital systems and, it's created a recipe for long-term success, not only for on call, but for the hospital systems that we work with, being able to have, you know, um, some contingency and flexibility. We plug in really nicely, um, not only with small independents, but with large national hospital systems, employed models, outsourced models. I mean, we really have that level of flexibility where we could craft a staffing solution that just expands the bench a little bit more,
Mhm.
and gives them the ability to kind of flex up or flex down as they, see seasonal fluctuations, or you open a new
Right.
hospital wing, or you have mass exodus or a large contingent on FMLA. There's so many different things that influence hospital systems that
Mhm.
really makes it so important. I think that the pandemic highlighted it, but it's always been there in that
Yeah.
there is continuous variability to staffing needs, and doing it alone can be very challenging. So being
Mhm.
able to find an effective partner to support that need long term is so crucial.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned burnout, and you're talking to someone who just quit their job and moved to Spain. So, I've if
I'm
anyone
just
can talk
there.
about burnout, it's me. Really? Where were you?
I was in Madrid last weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're here for, like, another 2 weeks, and then we're gonna get kicked out of Europe, so, uh, we
Sure.
we didn't get a visa, but, yeah, I love it here and considering coming back, but I mean, listen, I didn't have the most intense job, but it was a very busy orthopedic practice in New York City, and I was there for 10 years with the same, surgeon who's fantastic. But I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't a little bit burnt out, and I think the pandemic played a little bit of a role in that, but also just, I think after a while, clinicians need either a change or a little more support or something, but I think that what you said about making their jobs more I don't know what the term you used, but kind of like almost seems like making it a little bit more fun for the doctor or PA, NP, CRNA, um, by kind of helping place them in the right roles yeah, I think for me, I plan to use, OnCall Solutions if I do when I do come back, to the clinical world, because I do think I will if I can ever get out of Europe because I love it so much. Um, because obviously I can't work here because they don't have PAs in Spain, but
Oh,
when I do come back to the US, that would be like, it's such a good option for me because I was in the same role for such a long time, and so I'm really intrigued by the whole locum situation, and also you guys kind of, have some options for longer term staffing as well, right? Long-term
we do.
positions?
Yeah. I mean, we
Yeah,
have the plethora of opportunities across the spectrum. We have
cool.
some more traditional locum opportunities, more short-term
Mhm.
defined, and
Mhm.
others that are really more long-term. I
Yeah.
think the nice thing that on-call provides to clinicians is, that again, that level of flexibility. We understand that from month to month, people may have more or less availability. They may be saving up for a house and looking to, work more, or,
Mhm.
they may be going through a change in their life and moving, or having a new child or something to that effect that
Mhm.
that warrants more of their time at home. So, I love the fact that on call is able to provide that level of flexibility to our clinicians. Um,
Right.
and that's where I think a lot of them will work with us more in a full time capacity. And we've had a
Yeah.
number that have worked with us for years and
Mhm.
enjoy that kind of lifestyle. It's different. Myself as well. I had previously been working, a traditional W-2 model, but over the course of the past 3 years, have been working clinically through on call as well,
Cool.
as a hospitalist.
Uh-huh.
I have had the experience of being able to work in a number of our hospitals locally in the Philadelphia area. I think that at least for me here, it's given me the opportunity of kind of experiencing what our clinicians are experiencing in our different sites, and
Mhm.
being able to support them more effectively that way. Um, but again, I think finding that work life balance is so important, because, yeah, I think, yeah, I said at the onset, I had a true calling and passion to medicine just to be able to care for people. And I think most people go into medicine with that intention. And, you know, finding the right balance, finding things outside of medicine that make you happy, in your instance, whether it's travel or whatever your hobbies are, it's so important to maintain those things, because this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
And, it's when you find that balance, I think you're able to kind of rekindle that passion, and
Mhm.
be able to provide the best care,
Right.
which is, I think what we all want to do for our patients.
Well, I love that, and you just said the other buzzword or words, which is work-life balance, right? Everybody wants that now, or most people want that. I just saw a headline, I think it was, like, in the New Yorker or something, and it said, "Young doctors want work-life balance. Older doctors say that's not the job," something like that. And so, I think that we should all have the option or the opportunity to have better work-life balance, and I like that it's going in that direction. So I guess my biggest question for you today would be, what would you say to a physician and PPA, a clinician who's kind of looking for that? And is interested in the locums lifestyle, right? Like taking these locum roles to spend a little bit more time with their family or traveling or whatever it is, but are kind of afraid to take that leap because it is kind of scary quitting a job that maybe you've been at for a long time and that provides you this paycheck every month, every week, and 2 weeks. What would you say to them to have them feel comfortable taking the jump and making the switch?
Yeah, I mean, I would say a couple things. One, it needs to be a priority to you. So you need to do that because it can be very hard to stop, the train
Yeah.
that's running, when you're in a medical career, and to sit back and reflect a little bit and try to, recenter. Um,
Yeah.
so you need to take it upon yourself to do that. Second, I would say, a lot of clinicians will work with on call to kind of dip a toe in the water.
Mhm.
And you don't need to go completely full tilt. It's
Right.
something that you can experiment with. We
Mhm.
have a lot of clinicians that will engage with on call because maybe they're contemplating a move to a new area. They want to maybe test out a new hospital system. They're nearing the end of a training career and
Mhm.
want to explore hospital A versus B versus C and see what the care environments are like. So it's something that you can do on the side to start.
Yeah.
And then once you can secure different opportunities, gain that level of comfort with the change, then you can, engage more formally and, shift your work more. And it's something that can happen gradually. So that's
Mhm.
advice that I would give.
Cool. Yeah, I wasn't thinking that you could just kind of do it on the side for a little and try it out. So that's great. That's something if I didn't just quit, I would have wanted to try out first. And you guys have such a big what is the word? Not cohort, but you have a lot of jobs available. What is the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, we do have a deep job board, and
Yeah, there you go.
it spans the gamut. I mean, we have opportunities across the country. Um,
Mhm.
we have a number in emergency medicine, anesthesia. We are uh, recruiting for radiology, teleradiology.
Cool.
We are in the process of expanding even further to some more niche surgical and medical subspecialties that function primarily in the hospital setting. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I would encourage anybody to go ahead onto the OnCall website, take a look,
Yeah.
and just see it, and it's, updated real time. So, there are opportunities that are popping on every day, and anyone who has any possible interest could easily reach out to myself or anyone listed on the team online, and we have a whole cohort of a recruiting team that would be more than happy to talk with anyone and just kind of be able to be their agent, their consultant. We found actually that where physicians have been utilizing locum opportunity for quite a long time. PAs and MPs, maybe not as much. They're just kind of finding their way to that world.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, we can be a great resource for them, even if it's just with general inquiry about, how could this work out for me?
Yeah. Cool. And the website is actually really user friendly. It's nice. You can search by job type. You could search by, I think you could search by location as well. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's nice. It's broken down really, in a simple way, but enough information to kind of get the main points across. So it's super easy. So yeah, I agree. Go on the website and check it out. Or like Dr. Gonzalez said, you can email anyone. You could email me. I think my email is Leigha at OnCall Solutions. I have my own email, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah, so, I think you've given some really great insight here, not just into what it's like to be a hospitalist and an internist, but also what it's like to be kind of on the C-suite side of things. So, usually, what I ask my guests at the end of the episode is, "Do you have any advice?" Let's start. We're kind of talking about two things here. So, any advice for maybe a student or somebody who's in med school who's thinking about going into hospitalist medicine? And then any advice for somebody who maybe wants to go into like the administrative side of things?
Yeah, I guess I'll start with the last first, and
Sure.
say that, I've had a really positive experience in administrative medicine. Again, having that opportunity to have more of a multiplier effect, yeah, the ability to impact multiple patients' lives through broader schematic changes in hospital systems. And, I think that it's not the same as the bedside experience, but
Mm,
I can tell you I've seen it and experienced it firsthand that, you know, the ability to influence broad change in a hospital system has such profound ripple effect and impact in patients, when working either, in patient safety or quality. There are so many avenues to participate in your hospital system and make, positive change. So I would encourage folks to engage outside of wielding the stethoscope because you can
mhm,
have that kind of impact. And then separately, for people contemplating internal medicine and hospitalist work in particular, again, I find significant pleasure in the ability to serve as the core advocate for patients. And that's where I think there's beauty in the hospitalist role. And so, if you are somebody that has a personal mission to patient advocacy, I think you can make a very positive impact as a hospitalist. And I would encourage it to anybody that's considering a path in medicine.
Awesome. Yeah, and even though I just, officially met you today, it really comes across that you care, not just about patients and what you do, but also about the clinician as well. So I think that also adds to like the trust people may have in your company that you're working with OnCall Solutions. So thank you for that answer. That was awesome answer. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gonzalez, for coming on and taking time out of your day to do this show. I think it's going to be really insightful. It's going to be a little bit of a different episode from what I'm used to doing, which I like change. So this is great. If anybody has questions about OnCall Solutions, I will also put Dr. Gonzalez's information below. You can email me at Leigha at OnCall Solutions and head over to their website oncallsolutions.com. And if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, all those good things, leave a review. Thank you for listening and or watching, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Dr. Gonzalez, thank you so much.
Thanks, Leah.